Hi everyone, before we start the webinar, I just want to point out there is a questions section. So feel free to type in any questions you have throughout the webinar and I will answer those via email towards the end of the day. So good afternoon, welcome to our webinar, How to Prepare the HUD-1A within Easysoft Online. My name is Heather and I am the Product Support Specialist here at Easysoft. Today I'm going to be reviewing the HUD-1A, which is an optional form used for refinances. The banks usually request this form for commercial properties. So I'm going to go through how we create that. Once you log in, you're going to see the new closing in the upper right. So right from that drop down, you'll be able to click on the HUD-1A. I've already gone ahead and filled in some basic information to save a little bit of time. So in this HUD-1A, you'll see that I've already entered in the borrower information, the lender, and the general information to the right. Please note the status I have is set at preliminary. This actually creates a watermark when you're printing out the form if it's set to anything other than final. And I'm actually going to show you how that prints out towards the end. The next section down is your property location. You do have a copy button here. So if this property location matches the borrower, you can just click copy and it'll bring that address right in, or you can type in a separate address if it's different than the borrower's. Your settlement agent information pulls in from your profile settings, so make sure you go ahead and fill those in if you don't have that filled in already. You'll want to make sure that you enter in your settlement date and your funding date. And then we'll go down to our next section. So you'll see that the HUD-1A starts at the settlement charges. This is section 800. It's similar to the HUD-1, but instead of going through sections 100 through 700, we just begin right at 800. You'll want to enter in your origination charges. And you'll see that line 803 is grayed out. So this is actually going to be the totals between lines 801 and 802. 802 is your credit or charge points for the specific interest rate chosen. If it is a credit, you'll want to make sure that you enter in the negative number. So this gets deducted from that origination charge, and that amount will calculate in line 803 for you. Also in this section, you can enter in your appraisal fees, your credit report fees, your tax service fees, and flood certification if applicable. We do leave additional lines for you to enter in other values that may need to go into the items payable in connection with the loan. And we do offer the More button in most sections. The More button will create an addendum line with the total that you've added in. So for instance, in this section, I'll just add in testing and I'll enter in $100. So I can enter in as many rows as I'd like. So as long as I just click add new row, I can keep adding in that information here. And it'll give me the total once I hit save. So as you can see in line 811, this is now grayed out because this is pulling in from that More section. So it will let you know it's the total from the addendum lines and the total for as many lines as you've entered. So I have my $200 here. Any sections that you use the More button in is going to create the addendum lines, and that's going to print out a separate page of your HUD-1A. And we'll see that at the end as well. Section 900 is your items required by lender to be paid in advance or at settlement. So what you can do is you can enter in your daily interest charges. You'll enter in your date range, the amount per day, and then as you tab out, it will total that amount for you. So there's no need for a calculator. That's the good thing about Easysoft Online. It actually does the math for you. If you do need to include the start and the end date, you want to check the include both dates box, and that will do the math for you as well and increase that amount. Line 902 is your mortgage interest premium. So you can enter in the number of months and who that's paid to. This section and the homeowner's insurance section don't do the math for you, so you will need to know the total. And as you can see, we do have the additional lines in section 900 as well, along with the more button, if you need to add in any other items required by the lender to be paid at settlement. Section 1000 is your reserves deposited with the lender. So you'll have your initial deposit for your escrow account in line 1001. What you're going to do is you're going to go right to 1002. You'll enter in the homeowner's insurance, the number of months, the amount per month, and when you tab out, it's going to do the math for you. So each line will give you the total, and the total of all of those lines together will show in line 1001. So I did the homeowner's insurance. So here's our mortgage insurance and our property taxes. Again, you do have 2 additional lines here along with the more button if you do need to add more reserves deposited with the lender within this section. Line 1007 is your aggregate adjustment. So you'll want to make sure, like we did before, entering the negative amount in, and that will be deducted from line 1001, as you can see. Section 1100 is your title charges. So you'll want to make sure that you enter in your title services and your lender's title insurance. So what we would do here is, if you want the software to do the calculations for you, you're going to keep the calculate option checked. And I'm going to enter in my amount here, and I'm going to tab out. So you'll see that $100 was added into 1101. 1102 is also going to be added to that. The owner's title insurance is a separate line, so you can enter in who that's being paid to, and then you'll enter in your amount outside of that box. And line 1104 is also added and included in a line 1101, as you can see. You can include the lender's title policy limit and the owner's title policy limits, as well as the insurance premiums, the agent's portion, and the underwriter's portion in the next 4 lines. This is just for your records, and this doesn't get added into any of the lines to the column to the right, so a line 1101 or 1103. The additional lines at the bottom can be included in line 1101 if you choose to. So I have this one checked. So I will add in $100. Let me scroll back up so you can see that. So my $100 just got added up. So now we have $400 in line 1101. If you do not want that amount included in line 1101 and you need it separated out to print out a separate check to a different payee, you're just going to uncheck included in a line 1101, and it's going to stay right down here in 1109. Again, you have that more button if you need to add in any additional values. Section 1200 is your government recording and transfer charges. So you'll be able to enter in who those charges are being paid to. And then line 1202 is going to get added into line 1201. So we'll see $50 that got added into 1201. We'll add in another 50 and then another 100. So that was our deed, mortgage, and release. Just in like line 1201, 1203 will be added up from lines 1204, the city, county tax and stamps, and line 1205, the state tax and stamps. So if I were to put $50 here for the deed, you'll see that $50 show up. Do 25 for our mortgage, and then we'll do the same in line 1205 and 75 for that mortgage. The additional lines you see here, 1206 and 1207, can be added to either line that you prefer, so 1201 or 1203, whichever one you'd like to group them in. Please note in this section, for the More section here, this More button is going to respect which line is chosen under line 1207. So right now I have 1201 chosen. So if I were to go into here and do a testing, and put $100 in, we're adding that to line 1201. I'm going to save that. And you'll see that that increased line 1201 to the $300. Section 1300 is your additional settlement charges. So these are anything required services that you can shop for. So in this section, you can have them separated out, or you can group them all together in line 1301. What you'll want to do is you'll just want to make sure where it says included in line 1301. If you'd like to group them together, you just make sure that you check the box off. If not, make sure it's unchecked and that it'll be listed separately with a total over to the right. We do see our total settlement charges in line 1400, and this also gets entered in at the bottom of the page in line 1602. I'll show you that in 1 minute. I just want to review the disbursements to others section. In this section, you want to make sure that if you're paying off an existing loan and this is being paid directly from the settlement proceeds, you want to enter that information in here. So we give you enough lines to enter in that and the additional More button if they do have quite a few loans to pay off. You'll see a total disbursed in line 1520 for that section. And then this is our net settlement section. So you'll want to enter in your loan amount. In line 1601, if there's any cash or if you have check from the borrower, you can enter that amount in. As I said above, line 1400, that total did get entered into line 1602. And if there's any question, it is noted where that amount is pulling from. As well as in line 1603, that's our disbursement charges. So that came from section M. So you'll see line 1604 is your equals disbursements to borrower. And again, these three sections are being calculated and pulled from different fields on the upper part of the page. So if you don't think something's correct, you'll want to go back and review all of the numbers that you've entered. You'll see here that you can print the certification and the signature at the bottom of page 1 if you check this. Otherwise, it'll print on the last page of your HUD-1A. Your borrower information did pull in from the top of the page, as well as your settlement agent information. Once we go over to page 2, we do offer the good faith estimate. So if you need to enter in any of your estimated values, you can enter them in the second column here. The first column does let you know where your values are coming from and what line. So our first thing that we entered in today was our origination charges. So we know that was $100,000, line 801, and that did get entered in our third column here. So any of the estimates you need to enter, you can go ahead and enter them in. And we do offer the 3 sections for the good faith estimate: the charges that cannot increase, the charges that in total cannot increase more than 10%, and your charges that can change. You will see in this section here the increase between the good faith estimate and the HUD-1A charges, if any, and the percentage. The last part of your HUD-1A on page 2 is your loan terms. The loan terms are going to be entered by you directly. These should have been provided to you by your lender. So you'll want to enter in your loan amount and the term and the interest rate for that loan. You can also answer any of these questions below. Please note that if you do click yes, it's going to open up new sections for more information to be filled in. So I'll show you the, can your interest rate rise? And if you click yes, you'll see that this information, there's more fields to fill in. So you'll want to make sure that you fill in all of the appropriate information if the answer is yes to any of these questions. Once you've completed your HUD-1A, you're ready to print. So you can just go to the top of the page, click on the print, choose if you're printing to PDF or Microsoft Word. The PDF will just give you a PDF copy you can save right to your computer, or will get saved right into your Dropbox if you've set up that feature. If you need to enter anything separate outside of the software and you need to edit the form, just click on the MS Word, Microsoft Word, and that'll open up. You'll be able to edit the form before printing out or sending to your client. You'll see that we've added in the legal and the letter size, so you can choose which size you'd like to print to. And then once you've chosen your 2 options, just click the HUD-1A. It's going to let you know that's printing. That's a new feature we've added. And then here it is. Here's our HUD-1A. And I think that you'll remember from the beginning, I did say to note the status. So I had my marked as preliminary. So you'll see now I have a watermark letting you know this is a preliminary copy of the HUD-1A. If you need to print out a clean copy, even if it is a preliminary copy, you can go ahead and change that status on page 1 to final, and there'll be no watermark that prints out. As you scroll down, you'll see the information. Here's our signatures, our good faith estimate page, along with the loan terms. Here's the addendum page I had also mentioned. So we had added in a couple lines in when clicking more in section 800. So it lets me know what section and the amounts that were entered in for those fields. So if you do that for multiple sections, they will be listed out in a row on the addendum page. And then at the bottom is our certification and then the signature lines. Since we didn't choose to print them after page 1, they print at the end of our document. If you need to contact Easysoft, any department here, you can reach us at 800-905-7638, Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And if you have any questions for support or you want to look through our articles, we do have our knowledge articles updated. You can click on the support link, click on articles, and when you get brought to that page, you'll just want to click on Easysoft Online, and that'll bring you to all the articles regarding our browser version of the software. We do welcome any feedback from our clients, so if you have any ideas for the software, feel free to send that in. Our product manager will receive that information and review everything with development. You can also open a support case 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. and that'll be answered on the next business day. And you can also chat online Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining me today, everyone.